right. Well, I apologize to everyone who is still here with us. Thank you for coming back on. I will give it my best shot. And I guess Chef Sissy, if I freeze, I will just stop sharing. And if you just know that it just is not a fan of me today. All right. So let me get back in to kind of where we were at. And we will kind of start from the beginning again. Well, not so much the beginning, but back to our costing, or not costing yet, we're not there. Our portions, portion sizing. I just was going to go through some example problems. I know personally, the more that I do this, the better I get at it. And the more examples I go through, the better I get. So I'm going to jump in here and we're going to kind of just work through some problems together. So how many 5-ounce portions of chicken would be yielded from a 120-ounce package? So if you have 120 ounces of chicken to start off with, each portion is 5 ounces. So the problem we were kind of just going through, or the workaround, you would take that 120 ounces and you would divide it by your 5 ounces. That's how many you would get for how many portions you have. I'm not going to tell you the answer yet. I'm hoping some of you are doing the problem yourself. Throw the answer in the chat. Feel free to say it out loud, jump in. I will give it a quick second, but essentially, like I was saying, our 120 divided by our 5 ounces, and that answer would be 24. So we would get 24 servings out of that 120 ounce package of chicken. So let's try a couple more problems before I kind of open it up to questions. I hope you guys can still hear me okay. I don't hear any bad things, so far so good. If you have 3 pounds of broccoli, each serving is 4 ounces. How many servings do you have? So this is where you would have to convert your pounds first. So your first step here, since we're talking 3 pounds of broccoli, our serving size is 4, your first step automatically is to convert that 3 pounds to ounces. So if 1 pound is 16 ounces, that's step 1. So it's kind of a two-parter. You take your 3 pounds, times it by 16 ounces in a pound. That gets us 48. So we have 48 ounces of broccoli. Each serving's 4 ounces. So once we have our 48, we would divide that by 4 because we know there's 4 ounces in each serving. And that gets us 12. So the answer here is 12. Is that what you guys all got? See some head nods?
Yep, that's what they're showing in the.
Awesome.
There, Chef Jessica.
Good stuff. All right. So kind of going to keep going through here with some examples. If we have a bottle of olive oil and it is 750 milliliters and each serving needs 10 milliliters, how many servings are in the bottle of olive oil? So this, because they're both in milliliters, you can do your straight problem, your 750, and you would divide that by 10. What are we thinking? Any answers in the chat? Anybody feel like yelling out at me?
75.
Yeah, you guys are all getting the hang of it. Nice job. 75, that's exactly right. So moving on, how would you determine how many portions are in a purchase? I'm literally asking you the question you were just doing. So if you're thinking you would divide it, you are correct. You take your purchase amount and your amount used in one, there's just no numbers. So, oh, that's never good. If you need to make 87 pizzas and each pizza uses 6 ounces of cheese, how many ounces of cheese would you need to order? So this one is kind of the opposite. This is trying to determine how much you need for how much you want to make. So you would take your 87 pizzas and you would times that by 6 ounces of cheese each. Did you guys come up with 522? I see somebody nodding their head, which is good enough to me. So we got 522 ounces. All right, if you need 52 servings of rice and each serving is 5 ounces, how many ounces of rice do you need? So I'm not going to walk you through it. I want to see if you guys can come up with the answer first. You may be right. Nice job. So with that one, to kind of go back to that math problem in itself, is you would take your 52 servings and you times it by your 5 ounces. And that's how many you would get, is your 260 ounces is how much you would need. How do you determine the amount you need to purchase? Again, just the same words I was asking you. Basically, you would just multiply your serving size based on how many you need to make. If that was what you were thinking. Multiply, nice job. I see a couple of you in the chat there. Times them. So again, going back to that main principle when we're talking costing, culinary, especially purchasing, you always want to make sure you're answering the right question. Whether you're multiplying, whether you're dividing, you always want to make sure you're doing the right order of operations to get the answer they're asking. Because it's easy to mix it up. So this one's kind of one I'm trying to confuse you. I'll tell you that up front. Go back to it. If you need to serve 40 filet mignons and each filet is 8 ounces, how many pounds of filet mignon should you purchase? So this one's a little harder in the sense that I am asking you, or telling you, I guess, each one is 8 ounces, but I'm asking you how many pounds you need to buy, not how many ounces. So your first step, you can take your 40 fillets and times it by your 8. There's a few ways you can do this, but I will show you the generic way so that you can use it for all problems. So if you have 40 fillets you need, each one is 8 ounces, you multiply. That means I need 320 ounces of filet mignon, but this is asking me how many pounds. So if I divide this by 16, because we know there's 16 ounces in a pound, 20, I would need 20 pounds. Now, if you're like most chefs, you probably said 8 ounces. Well, 2 of those equals 1 pound, right? That's half of 40. So there's a few ways you can go about it. I highly recommend the way I showed the first way, just because it's not that shortcut, easy math way. It's nice if you have easy, simple math that's concise, but not every problem you're going to. So it's really good to know how to put it in your calculator, how to work it, how to do it in that sense. All right. I guess I didn't show you the answer, 20 pounds. So this one's hard. I'm gonna kind of walk you through it too. This just makes you think of it differently. So if you need to use 1/4 of an apple per salad you prepare, and you are preparing 36 salads, how many apples will you need to buy? So think of this quarter, when you see 1/4 of an apple, you want to take that fraction and make it a decimal is your first step. So if you are struggling with that, that's okay. When you see a fraction, it is a partial of a whole number. So think of 1/4 of an apple is 1 divided by 4. That top number, you see that fraction sign, and the bottom number, that fraction sign is just a divide. So if you take your 1 divided by 4, that equals 0.25. That is how we get our decimal of that.
Divided by 4.
So because we know that 1/4 of an apple is 0.25 of an apple, and we know we have 0.25 of an apple on each salad, and we want 36 salads, you would take that and times it by your 35, or 36, excuse me. I'm gonna confuse somebody on that. times our 36. That gets us 9. And that's the answer. We would need to buy 9 apples to put a quarter of an apple on each salad. Did you guys get that one? It's a little bit harder with the fraction, but don't let that scare you.
I didn't. I
Too
didn't
late.
get it.
You're already late. I'm sorry. I was already late. I'm sorry.
And
That's all right. Hey, just think about it and break down what that fraction is. You know, a fraction's a part of a whole, and you know how to get that decimal from the fraction. You just divide it, and then you have a number in front of you, not a fraction anymore, which makes your math much easier. It makes you be able to go forward. So let's try this one. If you have 12 pounds of flour in each loaf of bread, you needs 12 ounces of flour. How many loaves of bread can you make? So again, to break down this problem, if you have your 12 pounds of flour, your first step would be to figure out how many ounces you have. So you have it in the same unit of measure before you do your math. So if we have 12 pounds and we times that by 16, because we know there's 16 ounces in a pound, it says 192 ounces. We know 1 loaf of bread is 12 ounces. So if we take that and we divide it by our 12, that gets us 16. Did you guys come up with 16?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. All right, let's
First, I
try
came up
it
with
now.
1.4, but 16 is after I redid it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and again, like going back here, always, like I keep saying, just read the question. This is asking you how many loaves of bread can you make? You know, you got 12 ounces in each loaf. You know, you got 12 pounds. So right there, you know, it's going to be more than 12. Automatic, because you just know pounds and ounces right there. You know that if you have a number that's 522 or something crazy, that just makes 0 sense. Why would you get that many loaves from 12 pounds of flour? So anytime you're doing that math, that's just a really good way to double check your work. If that answer seems so out of whack, like if you did that problem and you got a decimal, you're not having a decimal or a partial of a loaf for how many you can make. That answer just does not make sense.
So basically it's like trigger, like certain questions give you triggers. Like when you says how many you need, it's like a trigger,
Exactly.
like a trigger, correct? Almost. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So when it's asking you how many you need, it's basically asking you like how much would you need to buy in order to fulfill this? How much would you need to make in order to fulfill this order? Or how much servings can you serve if you only have this much available? So trying to put it in regular context of how you're going to use it in a kitchen, whether that kitchen is your home and you're making just, you know, maybe 3 pies for a Sunday brunch, or if you're in a commercial kitchen and you're making 180 pies. It's the same idea in costing and the same idea in math and figuring out what can you do with what you have? What do you need to order for what you're doing type of thing. So yeah, that's a great way to look at it, is just those trigger words and looking at it in context of what makes sense here. So if you buy tilapia at 32 pounds of tilapia, or you have 32, you buy tilapia, that's worded really terribly, and each portion is 8 ounces, and we have 32 pounds, how many servings do we have? So if your first step, you would need to put that in ounces. So your 32 pounds of tilapia in ounces. 32 pounds times 16, because we know there's 16 ounces in a pound. It's us 512. If we divide that by 8, because we know there's 8 ounces in a portion, we would get 64 servings. Is that what everyone else is getting?
yes.
Part.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Nice job. All right, let's try this one. So if you have 45 pounds of potatoes and you need 90 servings, how many ounces will each serving be? So this is worded a little different. So now I'm asking you how many servings you have for what you have available. Or you know you need 90. Sorry, I worded that weird again. You know you need 90 servings. You know you have 45 pounds. How, and again, the final answer, we want in ounces. I'm not asking you how many pounds each serving will be. I'm asking how many ounces each serving. So your first step, again, take your 45 pounds, times that by 16 to get how many ounces we have. So we have 720 ounces, and we know we need 90 servings. So if you divide that by 90, our answer would be 8. You have 8 ounces in each serving. Is that what we're seeing in the chat? Is that what everyone else is getting? Awesome. You guys are doing great. All right, so you have 82 ounces of black beans. Each serving of tacos needs 1.5 ounces. How many servings do you have? And how might you figure this out? If you're thinking, you just times them and multiply your 82 ounces times your 1.5. That's not the right answer. I was trying to trick you, if anyone caught that. Yeah, somebody had it right in the chat. You would take it and you would divide it. Because you have 1.5 ounces in a serving and you have 82 ounces total, the answer is not going to be more than 82. You should just know that automatically. So if you are like myself, I screw up order of operations all the time. And it's just something that my dyslexic brain likes to do. It's just a good way to check yourself. So if you do your 82 divided by 1.5, you would get 54.6666667, because we cannot have a partial of a serving. And I'm asking you, how many servings do you have? Everything to the right drops off. So if you answered 54, you're on to something. You're right.
Yes, I got it.
Let's try another one that's pretty similar. If you have 98 ounces of strawberries and each serving is 3.5 ounces, how many servings would you have? So again, your 198 is what you're starting with. You divide it by how many is in each serving. We know there's 3.5 in each. And we get 56.57. But that's not the answer. The answer would be 56. Everything to the right of that decimal, we drop off. That is crucial and key. I cannot stress that enough, because if you type in on your test for your chef on your class 56.57, you're going to be wrong probably. They're asking you serving size. So you want to make sure everything to the right drops off. Let's try one more real quick. You have 11 gallons of stock. Each serving requires 1.8 cups of stock. How many servings do you have? Again, we have 11 gallons, so this is a little different, but same kind of concept. You want to get this gallons into cups first. That is step number 1. So if you have 11 gallons and you know there's 16 cups in a gallon, so you times it by 16, we have 176 cups in 11 gallons. Are you with me here? This one's a little harder. So now that we know we have 176 cups, and then we take that and we can divide it by 1.8, because we have 1.8 cups in each serving. This gets us 97.777778. Again, we're dropping it off and we get 97 servings. That one was a little harder. How are you guys feeling about that? I'm gonna stop it here.
I get my computer, my phone deleted it out.
That's the worst. How are you guys feeling with all this? With the costing, serving size? I guess we're not at costing yet. I keep saying that because that's your class. Serving size, portion size, how many you can make.
The one thing I noticed you said was sometimes your dyslexic kicks in. Yeah, I have it too. So I'm dyslexic and a couple of other things. So my numbers get all turned around and I've never been good with it. But I'm trying.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm that way personally, so I know I like to always point that out, that if you're somebody who struggles with, do we times, do we multiply, you know what to do with it, and you know how the math works, but you're getting the wrong answer because you're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, which is totally normal. So if you're one of those, know that you're not alone. A majority of people struggle with it.
This
And
is
the
what I did,
easiest
Chef.
thing to do is just,
You froze.
am I frozen? No, I'm frozen.
Yes.
We,
There you go.
you're better.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Back.
All right, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I mean, essentially just kind of check your math, do the way you think that you're supposed to, apply the equation the way you think you're supposed to, and then just kind of look back and think like, now, can I really get more servings than ounces I have? If the ounces is less? No, it's never going to be that way. Am I going to get 1,000 servings if I only have 80 ounces and there's 3 ounces? No, that makes 0 sense. So if you are one of those people, just find the answer the way you think you're supposed to. Go back to the problem, read the problem, and put your answer into the problem itself. And just think, would that even make sense in context in the kitchen? And if the answer, usually if you're doing it wrong, the answer is no. Doesn't make sense. So that is the best way to kind of check your work, check your equations, make sure you're doing it right. Because it's easy to mix that up, especially when we're talking portion sizing, costing, anything with costing in general. And I just want to kind of jump back to a little bit more. I think that's kind of where you guys are at in your first week and a half. You might be getting into portion costing. Have you guys? I don't want to jump ahead.
I'm in portion costing class.
Okay, so if you guys have started looking in this, I think this might be in the week you're on. You're looking for your portion costs, your price per portion.
Correct.
So, yep, just going to touch base on this. We'll cover it more in the next week too. We have your price you have, and then your portion size, and that's how much you have your price cost. Now, this you always want to make sure, again, you're in the same unit of measure. So if we buy, our example, $2.58, 50 cents for 16 ounces, that's 1 pound. Each portion is 5 ounces. How much does each portion cost? Your first step is to break down your price per unit. So you would want to find out how much each ounce is first. So if you have $2.50 is 16 ounces. So you would take your $2.50 and you divide it by 16. And the biggest thing here is that you do not round to the end. So whatever is in your calculator, keep in your calculator. If you round early, it could go wrong. You could get a different answer. So your first step there, we got 5 is our price per ounce. So now you take that and you times it by 5. And that would equal 0.78125. That's where you round. So because this 1 is a 1 next to the 8, it stays the same. So our answer here would be 78 cents, would be how much 5 ounces costs. So just to go to your next slide so you can kind of see what I walked through. You have to always convert to the portion unit, get your price per unit first, and then you can do your math. And then you can do your multiplication for how much you have per portion size. So let's try this one. We have our steak at $29.99 a pound. Our serving is 6 ounces. How much does that portion, 6-ounce portion cost? So your first step is to take that $29.99 steak that we buy per pound, and we divide it by 16 because we know there's 16 ounces in a pound. And that gets us 1.874375. Take that, again, we're not rounding it yet, and you times it by 6 because we know we have 6 ounces. And that gets us 11.24625. And that's where we would round. So it would be 11.25 for our 6-ounce portion. All right, let me get into, I have a few examples in regards to that as well that we'll jump into real quick because we have some time. I think that's not the one we just did. Yeah, this is great. Sorry, I had to make sure I was on the right one. So if you buy chicken for $8.99 a pound, each portion uses 6 pounds. How much does each portion cost? So your first step would be you would want to take your $8.99 divided by 16. So we can get our price per ounce first. That gives us 0.561875. You take that and you times that by your 6 ounces, because we know there's 6 ounces in a portion. And this is where we would round. So you would have 3.37 would be your answer. Is that what everyone else got? All right, let's do a couple more of these while we still have a few more extra minutes. So you buy Gorgonzola cheese for $12.79 a pound. Each portion uses 3 ounces. How much does each portion cost? So again, your first step, take your $12.79 a pound and figure out how much is an ounce. So your ounce cost would be 0.79375 per ounce. Times that by 3. And we get 2.398125 or 2.4. 240 is how much that portion costs. Is that what you guys all got? All right.
You're getting some no's in the chat, Chef Jessica.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's break it down. I'll go a little bit slower. So looking at this question, your first step is you always want to get it to the same unit. So when I see chicken is whatever this price per pound is, each portion's in ounces, how much does each portion cost? Your first thing is to figure out how much it is per ounce. So our first step would be to find out that $8.99, so $8.99 in 1 pound, and we know there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. So $8.99 divided by 16 equals 0.561875. So that's how much our chicken costs per ounce. That's our price per ounce for the chicken. Now each portion or serving has 6 ounces in it. We're trying to figure out how much each portion or each 6-ounce portion costs. So once we have our price per ounce, basically 56 cents, you would times that by 6 because we have 6 ounces. And that gets us $3.37. Did that help a little bit, breaking it down a little bit more? All right. Well, I am going to stop it here. Do we have any questions about it? We will go into, I know Chef Sissy has a couple workshops too for costing, but we will touch base more on that principle in general. I know it's brand new to you guys. Next week, we'll be covering more of that, more margins, costing principles as you dive into the start of week 3. But do we have any questions right now? The biggest thing that you can do just is to practice these, get some conversions, make sure your conversion chart you have in front of you, because it'll be really hard to figure out if you don't know some of the basics. If you don't know how many cups are in a gallon or how many ounces are in a pound, you will need to have that master list with you. Like Chef Sissy mentioned too, Google is your best friend. If you don't remember, type that in Google. Type in how many ounces are in a pound. How many cups are in a gallon? How many ounces are in a gallon? Whatever conversion you're doing, if you don't remember, throw it into Google. Google knows, and they will tell you. Use the tools you have. Always use your calculator. It is there for a reason. The biggest thing with these is the more you can do them, the better you get at it. It's as simple as that. You're not going to get better at it if you don't practice. And that's really any math. But I think we're about good for this week. I am so sorry about all the tech issues I was having earlier. I'm glad I could talk more at the end here. And thank you for rejoining me after being kicked out. All right, any last minute things from anyone? You're welcome. I hope to see you all next week. I will not have as many tech issues as I will not be traveling. So thank you so much for bearing with me.
It will be on Sunday to next week. Oh,
Yes. Yep. My workshops for costing will be every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central. Chef Sissy has one on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday night. And then I believe you have one Friday morning.
Friday
Sometime?
morning at noon Central Time, yes.
Noon Central Time Friday morning. So we have 3 different ones covering the same material. We will record them, upload them, archive them as well. So if you ever need extra help, go back and watch those. Those always are helpful too. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me.
thank you, Chef.
You're welcome.
Thank you.